Chair, fellow speakers and guests. The Matilda effect is the systematic under-recognition, denial or misattribution of women's contributions in science, academia and history. The title was coined by historian Margaret Rossiter in 1993. She pays homage to suffragist Matilda Gage, which is where Matilda comes from, who first wrote about the erasure of women's achievements in the suffragette movement. So that's where it comes from, and that's what it is. So what I'm going to do tonight is look at some of the times it's going on. I mean, it's happening every day, everywhere, because males don't want to lose their position, and so they make sure the women are kept under the thumb. Ada Lovelace. Who has heard of Ada Lovelace? Yeah, quite a few would. Yeah, it's not the other Lovelace, it's Ada.
Oh,
so
the other one.
Were you? Oh, you naughty girl. Yeah, she was a 19th century mathematician. She was working with Charles Babbage. And Charles Babbage was trying to develop a mechanical machine that could be used for mathematics. Never actually finished it, but they were trying. But Ada realised that this machine didn't really want to be used for mathematics. It should be used for doing algorithms so they can do lots of other things. And so she wrote the first algorithm, and she became the first programmer in the world. And she's so well known now. There's an academy in Ealing where my two grandsons go, called the Ada Lovelace Academy. So it happens. Anyway, first one that was the first. It wasn't electronic, it was mechanical. Right, so Lisa Meitner, who was the next one, 19th century mathematician again. She wrote, I'm getting the right line up here. Lisa Meitner, she was a physicist, and this was in 1944, 43-44, when she developed, with a couple of other people, nuclear fission, the splitting of atoms. She did it. Now, when the Nobel Prize came round, her colleague got it. She got nothing. The colleague got the Nobel Prize for nuclear fission, and he hadn't actually done it all, she did half of it. And the final one of this bit is Jocelyn Bell Burnell. She found the very first radio pulsars in space. She found them in space, and she was only a postgraduate at the time. However, 1974, the Nobel Peace Prize was given to her male supervisor, Anthony Hewish. So she got bugger all again. So these are classic examples of what goes on. And what I've done is I've chosen one specific person, which some of you will know a little bit around the family. It's Herschel. Have you heard of Herschel? Astronomy? Yeah. William Herschel was the man. He was the one that started everything off. He was really into music. That was his big thing. And his sister, Caroline, she was really angry because she couldn't go to education, she couldn't do anything other than looking after the house. Her mother wouldn't let her. So William goes over to Bath and starts playing organ in Bath. And she decides, sod this, I'm going. But her parents and everybody else tried to stop her, but she went, got to Bath, and William, being the guy he was, he taught her how to sing, to go with his organ. 6 months she was doing solos with his music. And so, you know, that shows how good she was. She was 6 months with music. And then he got this new hobby called astronomy. And she decided that it looked interesting. You know, it's not the usual sort of airy-fairy stuff. This where you actually can see things. And not just that, they actually made their own telescopes. Her task was to grind the mirrors and the lenses. to get them as clear as possible so they can capture as much light as possible, and that's what she was doing. Meanwhile, she was doing a catalogue of the stars. There was a book that had been done about 100 years ago with all the star constellations, etc., etc. And her brother said, well, you really ought to do that, catalogue it and put all the ones in you found, all the new ones. And it took her 20 months to do it. And she put in 500 new stars. And while she was doing that, she decided to go looking for comets. And she found gas, nebula gas things and one or two other things, but then she found 8 comets. The first woman ever to find a comet. So that was pretty good going what she was doing there. Then her brother was so much into this astronomy. He had found the planet Uranus using a telescope. No one had ever done it first. So he shot off up the road with Caroline to Windsor to see the king, and the king appointed him royal astronomer and gave Caroline £50 a year as a salary for assisting William. And she again was the first woman to be paid in a scientific role. So she got a lot of firsts to her name, she has. As she got older, she got more and more awards because people were realising that she'd done an awful lot, and it wasn't just her men that were doing it, she was actually doing it. So she was given the gold medal from the Royal Observatory. Now, of course, being a woman, she couldn't join. Then they gave her honorary membership because it was so important. And the King of Prussia, not long before she died, gave her a gold medal for her contributions to astronomy. So, and she did live a long time. I think she died 98 when she died. But she really, really did an awful lot for astronomy in this country. But let's go back to today. Well, not quite today. When I was working, I was a sort of second. Well, I was number 2 of the company, and I was told I had to hire somebody for the northern sales role. So we got these people in, and the best of them all was a woman. Absolutely brilliant she was, fantastic engineer. And so the report went in, and the boss came and said, no, I'm not a woman engineer. Just imagine what all the wives are going to say of the engineers who are staying in the same hotel as her. God almighty. So anyway, I couldn't, and it wasn't long before I left. It just so annoyed me there. Because she was absolutely brilliant. The others were just rubbish compared to her. And I was giving her all sorts of nasty questions, and she was coming back with the answers. It was really good stuff. So that is what it's about. Matilda's effect, still rife today, but a lot worse in the old days.
Yeah, I have a good story about that. When I did my degree, and they used to have the milk round, and all the employers would come round and interview people. And I went in for an interview with a couple of my course mates, and they said to me, one of the very first questions they asked me is, when are you thinking of starting a family?
That's all right. I just realised I should be answering questions.
And I said, did you ask the previous guy that same question? And he got really shirty with me, so needless to say I didn't get off the job.
So, questions, I forgot you can ask me questions.
I had one, but I've forgotten it, you know.
See, senior moments.
Do you think things have improved, Henny? No?
No, I don't. I think they're making it a little bit more under so that it's not obvious what's going on. But there's another one called Matthew's effect, which is the blokes maintaining their position.
Yeah.
Did you ever try and track down that woman who didn't get the job?
No, we didn't have internet in those days. days, come on.
There was no Facebook.
But we had computers, but they were great lumpy things that weren't connected to anything other than your office.
Do you ever wonder what happened to her?
Yes, I would like to have known, but I've got no way of getting in touch with her. But anyway, she's going to be, what, in her 70s now? So, could even be dead.
Could have had some amazing achievements. in
Well,
getting
yes, she
on that sort of
did,
work.
you know, it's just so frustrating dealing with people with this narrow.
It is sad that when I did my engineering degree in the 80s, early 80s, I was the only girl with 70 boys. And I thought things had improved. My son did engineering a few years ago, and there was still only 6 girls. It hadn't changed.
The old conditioning process.
Yeah.
Girls don't do things like that. Girls don't get their hands dirty. Girls don't know about spanners and what to do with it.
Yeah.
Have you seen Hidden Figures?
Yeah.
Hidden Figures.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's the same sort of vein.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really well done, isn't it? Yeah.
About a woman who works at NASA. Yeah.
Yeah, a black woman that works
Oh
at NASA.
yes, yeah, she was one of them. She
Yeah.
was sort of really discriminated against.
Oh yeah.
And there's another question for you all. Where is the building that has got the most toilets in it?
Probably the stock exchange. No. Somewhere where there's lots of men.
No, it's the Pentagon, because you've got white men, black men, women, and so you've got all these toilets they use.
It's segregated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't normally have women going into the men's box, but they got rid of the black ones now, they become white ones. Yeah, everybody. Strange, isn't it?
Thank you, guys.
I heard on the news somewhere that Iran has more senior female engineers than any other country.
It's not surprising. When I was in Libya, there were a hell of a lot of female engineers wearing hijabs and things, but they weren't working in the labs and doing the proper engineering jobs, and they were allowed to talk to me. The only thing they weren't allowed to do was shake hands or touch me. They couldn't do. But everything else they could. So.
It's interesting.
In Afghanistan was the same before the Taliban took over. I was working in a news agency thing, and we had a woman accountant, and we had a woman PR person, and the women would, like when I was leaving, just before I left, one of them went off in a car and got a cake, a celebration cake for when I left.
Oh.
But women could try.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad, it is awful, you know. Right, any more questions?
No.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you're supposed to vote to now. Vote.
We're reinformed.